Hello, Sula here from MistyHilltops.com, and I started working on a new 6x6 mini album that I'm planning to use for this year's December daily. So in the next couple of videos, I will show you how I put together this album. Obviously, this album is not just a Christmas album. I have a video that shows this album with an autumn theme, and you can use this for any kind of theme you want, really. It comes with tons of places for photos. There's room for at least 60 or so, but I lost count, to be honest, and I think it has room for even more. So you can collect this album as a series of freebies on my blog, MistyHilltops.com, among with many other freebies. And so this album was actually inspired by a mini album shared by Lori's Crafty Creations on her YouTube channel, and I just took her instructions and turned them into a silhouette cut file, or actually into many silhouette cut files. You can find a link to Lori's YouTube channel in the description box below. I will link you up with her stuff, especially the video that she made on making her album. And this mini album comes with a bunch of cut files that you can find as freebie on my blog, as I just said. And altogether, it took me about 5 hours to cut out all the pieces for this entire album, as it's quite the extensive album, and I used my silhouette cameo. So the files are made for the cameo, not for the silhouette portrait, though I leave the measurements, so you can always just trim things by hand, obviously. In this video, I will show how I put together the base page. And this album comes with 3 signatures, and I make every signature look slightly different so it doesn't get boring. But overall, all 3 signatures are based on the same structure that I call the base page. And this is what we're going to work with today, and which is what I will show you today. So this album is created so that it can contain 6x6 inch materials like papers and all that. And that means that I'm sometimes working on a pretty big work scale. I'll try to be mindful of staying on screen, but I hope that if I go off screen at certain points, you can still get the idea of what's going on, and that sometimes it just happens. And also, I should note that for some of the cuts, I use the large 12x24 cutting mat from Silhouette, as the 12x12 mat is too small for some of the objects or things that I'm cutting. However, this only applies to very few of the cut files for this. I have like 3 or 4 cuts that I do that way. And all of them have straight lines. So if you download the file as freebie from my blog, you will also have just the measurements, and you can just use your paper trimmer to do the cutting if you don't have a large cutting mat. And you can also find the measurements with Lori's video, but again, the measurements are with the pieces that I include in the freebie. But again, these it's only for the straight cut pieces. Where there's other shapes, I don't really include the measurements anymore in those freebie files because that'd be too complicated. So let me go over and show you how this works, okay? So basically, there are all these pieces, and I already tried to put it together, but basically what will happen is you have one piece that is a pretty long piece, and this is probably the second longest piece in the whole cut file series, and it is bigger, it is wider than the 12x12 cutting mat. So for this piece, I will need a larger cutting mat, or I need to cut it by hand. It's easy, you see, it's just a simple rectangle. You could easily just cut it by hand. And so this is the main page. This is where everything is centered around, and you need 3 of them if you work with this album. Obviously, you can make this album just have 1 signature, then you only need it once. You could make it have 2 signatures, then you would need it twice. And I'm working with 3 signatures, so I cut this out 3 times. So I cut this out, and then there is a piece, so you can see this is a 6x6, and this is then slightly smaller. I'm guessing it's a 6x5.5, and but however, it gives me space around, so it's probably really only like a 5 1/4 size page, 6 by 5¼ size page. Okay, and then what happens is you have this piece, and so I put these are all in one cut file if you want to download this from my blog. So they all come in one, everything you see here comes in one cut file. This is it's a 6 by 6 page. Well, it's bigger than that, it's 6¼ or something, but it will contain 6 by 6 materials. So this one will go in the front here on the front of, and you need to make sure that the shorter page is on the back. Okay, so so it just gives you different sizes of pages, and that makes this book interesting. So this one goes on top here and would open up like this, and then it would open up like this, right? And more will come to this. Okay, so then I do have a 4 by 6. Obviously it's bigger, but it can contain 4 by 6 materials, like a photo or just papers and a photo or something. And I will put this on this side of the album, okay, of the page. So it will open up this way, okay. And then inside here, you can do different things. And then but again, I'm just going to show you today how we do the base page, right? And you can do all different sorts of things with these base pages, and I will show that to you in future videos. And then you have this piece, which is exactly the size of the smaller piece, okay? And it has 2 flaps going from top at the top and the bottom. So we don't put it on this way, we put it on this way, and it's for a very specific reason, because things will need to be attached here, and this will become a pocket. Okay, so it's for this reason you want the opening to be on the side, not on the top. Okay, so it's very important that you keep that in mind. And we will do this. I will glue things together one by one, and I'm just showing you an overview of what I will do. And then I have this even smaller piece. So this is just a 5 by 6. Again, it's bigger. It's like a 5¼ by 6¼ or something. But when I say 5 by 6, I mean it's for those kinds of papers and materials. And then you put that basically inside. You slide it into this pocket here that is open on the part that will be glued to the binding, and so that way you have an opening like this. Okay, and then the last bit will go. This is a small piece. I think it's like a 4 by 5 piece that will go inside here, and then there's a little pocket that can go on this part, and then it folds. This whole thing folds closed, okay, and then you can put a pocket on the back, and that would make the first signature. Okay, so now we will do this slowly, one by one. Okay, so and again, if I get a little off screen sometimes, I hope you forgive me. It's just bigger. It's a bigger project, and so I have to be mindful of things. So I'm pulling out the center piece. This is the center piece, and this is where everything else will be placed on. Okay, and then I'm using glue. I went away from double-sided tape because I just realized that after some years tape stops sticking well, or it shows through papers. And so I just went completely away from, and I think I need to, I'm sorry, I should have checked beforehand. Just make sure that the glue comes out quickly so I don't annoy you with being super slow here. So here we go. So I'm just gluing, and you see if you put this, so it's the flap is inside, and I put the glue on the basically on the top side. If you have this flattened out, it would be on the top side. Okay, that's where I put the glue. And then this part, so I make sure that the smaller page is at the back and the bigger 6x6 page is at the front. And then let me make it so turn it so that I can actually see what I'm doing. And then I just glue this to this page. Okay, so here we go. So here I have the first part of the page glued down, and I'm just moving it a little bit while I still can. My glue dries fast and gives me just a little bit time to move things around before it sticks for good. So I like that it's fast drying. I'm not complaining. This is exactly the kind of glue that I need with the way that I work. Everyone has different preferences, but this is what I need. So then I take the 4x6 a little flap. Okay, again, I have it already, I folded it already. And so if I just open up the fold again, I put glue on the top of that so that this one goes in here. Now, I don't do this with all three of my signatures because, like I said, I like to change my signatures up a little bit, but I put it on the outside. You see here? Here is the center fold, and I put it on the outside so that it will open up to the outside. And I don't do this with all signatures. I just do this with one or two of my signatures. Even though it comes with a base page, I felt I should include it in the base page because that's how Lori has it on her video, but or in her video. But so okay. So then you have this page. It opens up like this. Okay. Then you have the center, and then we go to the back. Okay. This is the center piece, and we close it, and so that we are now working on the smaller page, which is the 6x5.5, I'm pretty sure. Then we take the one that has flaps on two sides, okay? And once again, so the flaps bend behind, but we put the glue on the top here, okay? So I start with one side because my glue dries so fast that I don't want to put glue on both flaps, and then it's dry by the time I get to the second flap. So I work one by one. So here is the glue, and I start with the side close to me so I can see what's actually happening. And I just need to rub off the glue that came onto my hands so it doesn't end up on the page. And then again, I put it to the top and the bottom. I don't put it on the sides, okay? So this is different than the page before. The page before, I glued it on one of the two sides, but here we want to glue this to the top and the bottom so that it creates a pocket, okay? So, and the pieces, unless my gluing doesn't work well, usually the pieces, they fit pretty well because it's cut with a silhouette, but sometimes the silhouette is out of alignment in my case. I have the oldest silhouette machine I think that there is on the market. I got it like first generation silhouette, right when they kind of came out. Not immediately, but I've had my silhouette for a long time. Still happy with it, and have no plans of changing to one of the newer ones, but because of that, I sometimes have like misalignments a little bit, and you have to be careful with the gluing. But this is why I prefer using the silhouette over even like these are simple cuts that you could just trim with your trimmer. But I still find that when I trim things with my trimmer, they still don't turn out. They get crooked and all, and I guess I'm too much a perfectionist. I care when it, to have everything straight and nicely put. Okay, then I take this flap. It's the larger of the remaining flaps. Okay, and only put glue on the inside because we need this pocket, this end of the pocket, to then glue into the binding part. That's how we attach each signature to the binding. It's actually been a while, and this is my first run. Even though I have 3 signatures I'm videotaping with the first signature. So I'm putting glue on the inside this time. It's the other way around from every other flap that I've done so far, because I want it to attach this way. Okay, so here is my book, right? And then I make sure it's on the right side, not the left side, because this is the outside of the book. This is where the binding will be. And so now I glue this, I put this into that pocket that I just created, and then I close it, and then I can press down and it works just fine. So that the nice thing with the glue is that it can pull out a little just so that it really lies flat. This page really lies flat, even though it has a fold. I like how this works with this silhouette cuts and stuff. And so here we still have this opening that will allow us to then glue this signature to the binding. And I will show how that works, obviously, in a different video. So we're making good progress with our pages. So we have this now, and now we have the small pocket and or the small flap, and we do the same thing as before, where we just put it on the top side of this. Okay, so this flap is the only one where we put, I guess you could still say it's on the top, but the fold goes the other way then. Whichever way you want to say it, I think you were able to get the idea of what I'm doing here. And then I'm turning it this way, and now I'm trying to center it, okay? So it doesn't have to be perfect, and I just eyeball it about where, because this is smaller, you see, right? And so I just eyeball it about where the center of the page is. I put it down and glue it down so that it is on the inside of the page, and it will open up to the outside. Again, if you have all flaps opened up, it's a very wide book, probably going outside of screen right now. So we're not going to do that. So I'm just making sure this is glued down. And then you could put a pocket inside as well. Usually, like, the pockets still work well, but even with getting the page to close well. But I'm going to put the pocket, I have this pocket, and I'm going to put this pocket on what I would consider the outside, the inside, okay? So here is where I put the glue. And again, I start with one flap and then work my way to the other flaps. There's a little glue. It dries transparent, so it's not a big deal. And then this fits perfectly onto this flap. Okay. Oh, got some glue, but luckily all of this will be covered with pretty papers. That's why I'm doing these things anyway, because I love the pretty papers. So I'm just making sure this glues down, and now I put the glue on both remaining flaps, here and here, and now I can close the flap and stick it down. So here's the pocket now. And I don't like to just cut a rectangle and then have it stick down. I really like that that it has flaps, because it gives room for whatever you want to put behind the flap, into the pocket. So sometimes my pockets get pretty filled up, especially if it's a Christmas album. For my other albums, I don't really have much to put in the pocket, but my Christmas albums, I I prefer to work with pockets because they give me flexibility. I'm checking here to make sure. Sometimes in the cut file there is a tiny overlap, and I just use my scissors to remove that overlap so there's nothing rubbing against each other, so it's all nicely separated. You can see here, okay? And it's okay to do that to your papers, to still use your scissors and cut things. Okay, I'm putting, as usual, glue on the largest flap, and then put that down first so that I don't have to smear glue all over the place in case I need to move things around a little. And then once this one side sticks well, so I just align it flush with the bottom of the page. Oh, I need to make sure that it's actually aligned on both ends, so this looks better. So this is what I like about having my silhouette cutted, because in 99% everything is perfectly aligning with each other. I wouldn't be able to get that accomplished if I cut these things by hand. But again, if you don't have a big cutting mat, and I understand they're somewhat of an investment, you can still cut the larger pieces, just trim them by hand. So I'm applying the glue to both sides now and gluing down this pocket. Obviously right now you cannot really see the pocket because it's all the same paper. Once I add pattern paper, you can see. Okay, I'm still pressing things down here. So here's the pocket here, and it gives room for wiggling. It's a big, large pocket. And then here's a pocket, okay? So this is the base page, okay? So I will show you one more time. So it opens up and you have another flap here, okay? Then this is the main page onto which everything else is fastened. This comes with a pocket, and the pocket has a little insert. You will find it. I have a heap of cut papers here that I don't want to mess with. And then here's a smaller page, comes with another flap, and this one is a little difficult to open because there's the two pockets are somewhat colliding, but it's fine. And then the last page. This is a basic signature. And then you can add a whole lot of other things to your signatures. For example, in the next one, I will not put a flap here probably. I will put flaps like this. This one will actually get flaps like this. And I will show you, I will make more videos to show you how I actually end up decorating things and putting things together. But this is how I create just one main signature. All three signatures work the same way, and then there's lots of room of what you can do with your signatures. You can add more flaps. If you need more flaps, you can add flaps this way. You can add, I will add pockets and everything. I will go crazy with this because it's my December daily, and I like to work with pockets because that way I can, I'm not limited with the number of pictures I take for a day or something. Okay, I hope this was useful for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Consider subscribing, and have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.